Hey friends, let's get moving. Today I've got a feel-good mobility stretch sequence for you with a little bit of core work as well. So you're gonna need a blanket today. We'll be on all fours. That might feel good for your knees. And if balance is an issue, please have a wall or a chair nearby to assist you. Let's get moving. Come up to the edge of your mat. Stand with your feet hip distance apart, and we're gonna begin with the legs. So pick up your left leg, balancing on the right foot, and keeping the rest of your body still and stationary. Take your left knee out to the side, and then back behind you, making a big circle with that left knee. And notice how as the knee circles, moving through the range of motion of the hip joint, notice how the rest of your body might want to displace as a result of that movement. And see if you can hug your body in towards midline and kind of stabilize so that we're just injecting this movement right into the hip joint here. Let's take one more circle out, and this time, when the leg starts to go behind, we're gonna stretch that leg out back and land in a lunge. Okay, so here's a great place to use a wall or a chair if you need. And take your left knee and bring a little bend into it so that you can drop your tailbone towards the ground, maybe lighting up the front of the left thigh and hip as a result. And then reach your hands towards the ground. Take your right fingertips towards the ground, leaning to the right, and then your left fingertips towards the ground, leaning to the left. So we're curving the spine from side to side here, noticing how the stretch sensation in the left hip and thigh changes as you wave from side to side. Keep breathing. And then come back up to center. Bring your hands to your hips and straighten both legs. From here, creasing at the hips, lean forward over your front leg any amount. So you might need to use a hand against the wall if you're wobbly, or hands on a chair can help as well. And see if you can move that right hip back behind you any amount more, getting super long between your hip and your armpit on the right side. Take one more breath here. And then let's go ahead and lift the torso up, and we're gonna step back up to the front of the mat. Full breath in and out, feel the difference. Okay, let's switch over to the other side. So balancing on the left foot now, pick the right knee up. We're gonna start with those hip circles and trying to not let that hip circle movement displace the rest of the body. Using the wall or a chair for support if need be, focusing your gaze to help with balance. Moving nice and slow, cleaning out the cobwebs in that right hip. And we've just got one more circle here. And this time, when the leg starts to come back behind you, we're gonna stretch the leg back and land in a lunge. So bring a little bit of a bend into your right knee and let your tailbone weight down towards the ground. Watch how that changes the stretch sensation on the front of the right hip and thigh. Fingertips reach towards the ground, and we're just gonna reach from side to side, bringing a C curve into the spine as we go from side to side, watching how the stretch sensation changes, watching how balance changes as we lean the torso. Again, maybe focusing your gaze on one specific point, even as you move. Keep breathing. And then come back up to middle. Hands on your hips, straighten both legs. And then let's lean forward, creasing at the hips. Lean forward any amount over that left leg. Again, hands on a chair, balancing on the wall can help here. And let's take the left hip and try stretching it back away from the left shoulder, getting as long as we can there from hip to shoulder. Great job. And then this time, come upright. Instead of stepping to the front, we're gonna step to the back. Okay, now let's take the feet hip distance apart, and we're gonna drop down towards a squat. So honoring the range of motion in your hips, in your knees, in your ankles. Squat down as far as feels comfortable for your joints. And, oh, I don't know if you heard that pop. It didn't hurt, it was okay. So however far you get down into a squat, get there, and then find the ground with your hands and rock into an all fours position. I'm gonna grab my blanket so I can bolster under my knees. Find what's kind for you. Okay, fingertips on the ground. I'm sorry, palms on the ground. Fingertips on the ground would be here. Okay, let's warm up through the spine a little bit. So you're gonna take your right arm out to the side and then thread it through the hole in between left arm and left thigh. Place the back of your right hand on the ground. And so you are dipping your right shoulder down towards the ground a bit, but we're still pressing actively through the left hand. And the left elbow crease is still pointing in the same direction as the left fingers. So as I push down into the ground with my right hand, I'm also taking some nice big full breaths into my rib cage and feeling that breath help with the stretch through my rib cage. And then I'm going to come back to center and switch over to the other side. So left hand comes out and then threads through over to the right, putting the back of the left hand on the ground, pushing the left hand into the ground. Left shoulder can drop as you rotate a bit here through the rib cage. Press down through your right hand still. Right elbow crease facing the same direction as the fingers. Nice full breaths. And then here, let's retest the first side. Go back to right hand on the ground. Feel that. And then go back to the left side. I like to go back and forth a little bit here. And now we're going to change it up just a little bit and see how or if the sensation of the movement changes. If we climb the hands forward a little bit, so the wrists are forward of the shoulder joint. So again, starting with the right, I'm going to take my right arm through and let your neck go in here. Now, as you press down through the back of the right hand, feel free to kind of explore with the rest of the body here, the hips and the shoulders, and see if you can, find anything interesting going on in there. That feels good. Okay. Come back through to center and then over to the left. So again, back of the left hand on the ground, push. So you're offering yourself some resistance, still strong through the right arm. And again, you can feel free to shift around a little bit to find what feels nice. A nice long soft neck. Okay, and then last variation, this one's gonna be a little wacky. Bring your hands closer to your knees. So your wrists are a little bit maybe behind your shoulders. We have less room here. Take the right arm through. Keep pressing through your left hand. So that press is what's actually, restricting you from coming all the way down onto your shoulder. So keep the press through the left hand, press through the right hand, find your soft neck. And then over to the other side, back of the left hand on the ground, pressing through both hands. Soft neck. And then coming back to center with your hands under your shoulders, wrists under your shoulders now. Okay, if your wrists are starting to bother you, please feel free to come up onto your fists instead. So now we're gonna focus on lower body a little bit here. So pick your left knee up to hover away from the ground. And as you pick your left knee up to hover, can you notice what core abdominal muscles start to turn on and engage? And again, you could set that knee back down and do it again to feel how those muscles activate. And then just take the left leg straight out to the side, fire hydrant pose, very glorified, beautiful position here. Bring your left knee back towards the ground, but it's hovering. It's not touching the ground all the way. And again, take the left knee up. And as you do that, notice how much your right hip displaces to the side. Can you keep your right hip stacked over your right knee? And again, left knee down to hover. And let's exhale to lift to the fire hydrant. For 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bring your left knee back down and let's go over to the other side. So just pick your right knee up to hover and notice how your abdominal muscles turn on to support that movement. Go ahead and set it back down. And again, pick it back up. And then let's fire hydrant out to the right. Whew, this side's a little heavier. Is my right leg heavier than my left leg? Bring your leg back down, knee hovers. And again, let's exhale back up into that fire hydrant. Noticing if your body tries to kind of lean over to the left. See if you can keep your left hip stacked over your left knee. And then bring that knee back down to hover. Last one, exhale to lift. For 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and put that knee down. Drop down onto your forearms and then shift your knees as far as they can go, or I'm sorry, shift your hips as far as they can go over to the right and then as far as they can go over to the left. And then back and forth a few times. Wagging your tail. And then I'm gonna pop up real quick to take my blanket out because we're coming all the way down now. Lower down onto your belly, tops of the feet on the ground, and put your forearms out in front of you so your elbows are under your shoulders. Okay, you can choose if you wanna have your palms facing down on the ground, or you can do kind of like a tripod situation by interlacing the fingers together. I'm actually going to choose that option today because it feels a little bit more powerful, and that's what I want to channel. So take a big breath in and lengthen your spine. Look up with the eyes. So you don't necessarily have to lift up through the chin, but you can if it feels good. And then as you exhale, we're going to drop the chin to the chest and lift the hips up away from the ground. Inhale, set the pelvis and the legs back down, lift the chest, look up, exhale, tuck the chin, low ribs hug up towards the spine as we lift the hips. Going back and forth here. Going at your own pace. As we lift up into that forearm plank, if it feels a little too shaky, keep your knees on the ground and just lift up your pelvis and hug the low ribs in towards the spine. Big, powerful exhales to help with that movement. We've got one more. And go ahead and set yourself down. Now, if you had the tripod clasped hands like I did, go ahead and put your palms back down and walk your hands back so that your hands are right underneath your shoulder joints. Okay, take a breath in, and as you exhale, draw your pubic bone down towards the ground, making extra length in the low back. And then let's go ahead and press through the hands and lift the torso away from the mat, any amount. So keep your lower half relaxed. I have quite a bit of mobility in my lower spine, so I push up pretty far. You might just be pushing up here. Push up to wherever feels good, feels kind for your body, that doesn't feel cranky for your lower back, okay? And then once you're up here, just use your head and look from left to right a few times. And then lower back down. Okay, and then again, we're gonna push back up into that kind of cobra-ish position. And then this time, we're gonna look back over the left shoulder, but we're gonna let the shoulders help us do that twist. It's not just the head, it's the shoulders too. Come back to center and look back over the right shoulder. One more each way. And then lower down. Make a pillow with your hands and rock your hips a little bit. Take a breather. Okay, let's come back up onto the forearms. And I am gonna choose that tripod position with my fingers interlaced again. So you can if you want, or you can keep your palms facing down. And I'm gonna use my knees for a little extra support. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, hug the low ribs up towards the spine. Take another breath in, breathing into the fullness of your back low ribs. And then as you exhale, lift the hips away from the ground. Curl your toes under, and you can stay on your forearms, on your knees, or we can change it up a little bit and we can lift up to hands. You can keep your knees on the ground, or you can lift your legs into a high plank position. Wherever you are, whether it's hands or forearms on the ground, push through the arms so that you feel the shoulder blades move away from the spine. For 3, 2, push, 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 and 1. Go ahead and walk your hands and your knees towards one another. And we're gonna make our way up to stand. So come up onto a kneeling position, and this is just one way to get up from the ground. If it doesn't work for you, choose another way. I'll meet you up at standing. So you can take your right foot out in front and come up through a lunge, okay? If yours is gonna look a little bit more like this, that's okay. You can also kind of climb up using your chair or however else you need to get up there. Okay, take your feet pretty wide apart, and we're gonna keep the toes pointing straight ahead to begin with. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, we're gonna tuck the chin and round through the shoulders and pause before you start to buckle at the hips. So we're not folding all the way forward here, okay? We're just kind of rounding the upper spine. And then you're going to press your hips forward. So you're gonna feel the weight shift into the balls of your feet and your toes. Shift your hips forward. Keep pressing the hips forward, and then let the upper spine unfurl. And then shift back to even center, even weight between the feet. Okay, and then from here, we'll take the toes out wider than the knees, wider than the heels, sorry. Bend your knees into a wide squat. So we're gonna bring the hands down, and just like we did in that lunge, we're gonna just reach one hand towards the ground at a time. And it's causing the spine to go into that C shape, side bending from side to side as we go. For 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and come back to center, straighten the legs. We're gonna do that again, but first let's take the arms out and up. Take a big breath in. Exhale, drop them dramatically. Bend your knees, reach your fingertips towards the ground, and here we go, side to side. Trying to keep the pelvis nice and low as you reach through the arms. For 3, 2, and 1. Back up, take your arms out and up, big sigh. Okay, bend your knees down. Last one, here we go. reach one hand down at a time. Keep breathing. For 3, 2, and 1. Come back up. Okay, hopefully your thighs got a little warm from that. Go ahead and parallel the feet once more. And I'm gonna scoot back a little bit so that I stay in the frame here. Okay, so now we are gonna come all the way down to sweep the ground with our hands. Okay, so you're gonna sweep over towards your right foot. Sweep your hands over towards your right foot. And as you do that, your right knee is gonna bend. Maybe you'll feel some nice movement, nice sensation in the right ankle, the outer right calf and shin area, and then sweep over to the left. So as your hands come towards one side, that knee is gonna bend. As they move away from that side, that knee straightens. Okay. I like this because it feels really good for my inner thighs, but it also gets my ankles moving in a way that they might not on a daily basis. So hopefully your floor is not actually dirty or your mat's not actually too dirty. But if so, you can always just, hook a little Swiffer pad onto your hands. Let's go side to side one more time. And back to center. And let's bring the hands to the hips, bend your knees, and stand up. Okay, heel toe your feet back towards one another. Ooh, my ankles feel really good. Okay, we're gonna make our way back down to the ground. So this time, step your left foot forward and your right knee back, or your right foot back. And we're gonna drop the right knee down, coming into a lunge. And then you can find your way down to the ground however you want, or you can kick your right foot toes over to the left and sit down. Okay, I'm gonna turn this way so that I don't lay back into my northern pine. Monty was getting too big. We couldn't fit him in here anymore. So we've got this little guy here, and I can't wait for the holidays to decorate with some ornaments. Okay, so from here, feet are about hip distance apart. Bring your hands behind you. And it's up to you if your fingertips point towards your pelvis or if they point out towards the sides or back behind you, whatever feels better for shoulders and wrists. Okay, so press through your hands and lift your hips away from the ground. So from here, you're gonna kind of rock forward and back, seeing just how much play is there in the shoulder joints. Notice if one shoulder feels a little different here than the other. And if this feels weird or hard, just think about, well, how many times in a day do I do something with my hands behind my back or my arms extending behind my torso? Probably not a lot. We're not really doing that. Okay, just one more and then come on down. Okay, so from here, find your bony sit bones, and then you can kind of like rock just to the back edge of your bony sit bones. Not so far back that you're on your tailbone, but just towards the back edge. Okay, so maybe you keep your fingertips behind you for extra support. Maybe you rest your hands on your knees. It's your choice, but we're gonna make sure that the rib cage is nestled in and that the shoulders are nice and soft. Okay, and so from here, you can lift one leg and then the other. So again, fingertips behind the back can help here. Ooh, I'm gonna lose my balance. You can also, if you don't want to rest your hands on your knees, you can straighten your arms. It's up to you, whatever you want to do. Okay, and then from here, we're just going to see, can I tap my right heel to the ground while keeping my pelvis and my rib cage all in the same relationship to one another? Can I tap my left heel on the ground? and go from side to side, nice and slow, so that that slowness should give you the awareness you need to make sure that your pelvis and your rib cage are staying put. And golly, it feels like if I were an oven, the temperature has been turned up. One more each way. And release. Okay, put your feet back down. Put your hands back down behind you. And now lift your hips up again. So maybe your hip flexors got a little tired at having to hold your legs up. So let's give them a break here. Press down through your right foot so your right hip moves higher, and then relax. And press down through your left foot so your left hip moves higher, and relax. And then go from side to side. So as you press down more through your left foot, you feel your the left side of your buttocks fire up a little bit more. And as you press down through your right foot, you feel the right side fire up a bit more. Going from side to side here. Giving some length to the fronts of the hips. Okay, one more each way. And then set yourself back down. And we're going to come into a crisscross position. So when you sit cross-legged, if you kind of feel like your knees are up towards your shoulders, or you're all crunched forward, or you're going to fall back, you can sit on your folded blanket or a block or some pillows or whatever works best for you. Okay, I'm going to sit flat though, because that feels best for me. So you're going to find a neutral pelvis, neutral rib cage. So as we start, we're going to lift our arms. We want to be aware of if the rib cage tries to come up with the arms too. And we want to say, no, thank you, ma'am. You can stay put and just let the arms come up. Okay, so leaving the rib cage mellowed down, lift the arms up, take a breath in, and then as you exhale, split the arms wide as you swivel your rib cage towards the right. Inhale, arms up, back to center. Exhale, swiveling to the left. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, to the right. So you just go from side to side, and it's purely the muscles of your trunk, your waist, that are rotating you here. You're not using your arms to do any of the rotating. And come back to center, and let's switch the cross of the legs to the weird way. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, it's so weird. Especially because my legs are a little bit sweaty and they're kind of sticking to each other. Okay, so nice nestled in rib cage, cozy rib cage. Take a breath in, exhale to the left, inhale to center, exhale to the right. Last one each way. Great job. Okay, lower your hands. And since this is the weird way, we'll just spend a little bit more time here. Relax the backs of your hands. Relax the backs of your hands to your knees. And give your shoulders a little circle. And the other direction. Okay, and so from here, go ahead and close your eyes and let your head float atop your spine. While you're here, can you let go of any gripping or tension through the inner thighs, through the hips, through the tops of the thighs or the hip flexor area? And can you just let your thighs relax towards the ground? Okay, take one more breath here, softening through the legs. Okay, if your eyes were closed, wake them up, blink them open. So we're gonna start now for the next position. As we're winding down here, the left shin is gonna be parallel to the end of your mat. And then the right leg is gonna come back behind. So you're just getting the right leg out of the way. It doesn't have to be at 90 and 90, just like the front leg. We're just focusing here on the front leg for now. Okay, and so you're gonna take your I Dream of Jeannie arms and you're gonna swivel from side to side. So swiveling your torso, you can think about there's like an arrow coming out of your breastbone, okay? You're pointing that arrow towards your back leg and then towards your front leg. You're just gonna go back and forth. And then we're gonna lean towards swivel towards the front leg. Now here, if your knee is way high up off the ground, give it a little support, maybe with a block or your blanket under there. And then we're gonna lean forward over that leg. But we're not rounding the spine, okay, to lean forward. I really want you to think about that arrow on your breastbone and reach it forward, even farther forward than your shin. And come back up. So you're gonna pulse that a few times. And so what's happening when you do that, when you lean forward that way, this left hip has to actually fire up to stabilize you. And so we're using that muscle or those muscles in this unique position. And your brain's gonna remember that. And hopefully your hip will start to feel more comfortable in this externally rotated position. Last one, and come back up. Okay, let's go ahead and switch over to the other side. So right shin is gonna be parallel to the mat. Left leg is just kind of out of the way. Again, if you need anything under your knee or thigh at this point, feel free to put something under there to give you some extra support. I Dream of Jeannie arms. Okay, here we go. To the left and swiveling back to the right. So again, it's the muscles of the waist and the trunk that are swiveling that breastbone arrow towards the left leg and towards the right leg. The arms are just coming along for the ride. Okay, and now let's do one more each way. Good measure here. Okay, so we're gonna do the leaning forward, but remember we're not collapsing forward. We're not trying to put our forehead to our knee. Instead, we're trying to take the breastbone forward, out past the leg. So here we go. Just going as far as feels comfortable. And again, this is specifically a place where you might feel a little bit better if you have something under your knee, if it's not all the way against the ground. Last one, well, this one. This one's the last one. There. Okay. Come back up. Great. Go ahead and stretch your legs out. Lean back into your hands and just bounce them. Let your knees bounce and relax through your shins and your ankles so that your feet can kind of flop a little bit too. For 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so if you would like to take a relaxation, go ahead and lie back and do a quick body scan, or just take 10 deep breaths and then move on with the rest of your day. Otherwise, that's all I've got for you today. I hope that felt really great for you, and I'm so proud of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be kind to your body. I'll see you next time.